Okay, thermal energy. So another name for thermal energy is heat energy. So thermal energy can be transferred three ways. And transfer means to move from one place to another place. And remember that the law of energy conservation states that energy cannot be created and it cannot be destroyed. It only moves from one place to another place. So the first way that thermal energy is transferred is conduction, which is direct contact. And then radiation. Radiation is by electromagnetic waves. And then you have convection. Convection is through liquids or gas. It's the rise and the fall of liquids and gas. Oh, the rise and the fall of hot and cold. And so here is a picture that demonstrates all three. We have the thermal energy, which is the fire. The pot is directly on the fire. So the pot is being heated by the fire, which is direct contact. If you notice, you have a person holding the handle of the pot, direct contact, which is conduction. If you was to touch everything on the outside of that pot, it would be hot. That is direct contact. The steam or the smoke from the fire is radiation. And as the pot is hot, getting hot, the water inside the pot begins to get hot. It begins to boil. It begins to move around. Because initially, when you put water inside the pot, it is either cold water or room temperature water. And so it begins to move around, it begins to boil, and it begins to rise and fall. And that's where you see the arrows at. And the red and the blue is hot water and cold water. And so as the water begins to move around, it begins to boil, and it rise and fall until all of the water in the pot will become hot. And that brings us to the word equilibrium, thermal equilibrium. We had the hot water and the cold water or the cool water rise and fall. It keeps moving around the pot until it becomes one temperature. And so convection is the liquid inside the pot. So that demonstrates all three ways that thermal energy or heat energy is transferred. Again, three ways: conduction, convection, radiation. Conduction is direct contact. Direct contact. Radiation, you're going to feel radiation. You can feel the sun on your skin. Convection is liquids or gas. Now, if you were in a room and you had a ceiling fan in your house, the reason why you cut your ceiling fan on is because the room is pretty warm, and so you cut your ceiling fan on to cool the room off. So as the ceiling fan begins to move around, the air in the room begins to circulate, the cool air and the hot air, the rise and the fall of the cool air and the hot air. That is convection. So when you looking at different scenarios and different test questions and assignments, look at keywords and see what it's asking you for. Look at contact clues, and see what the words are, the statements are asking for. So again, thermal energy, which is heat energy, is transformed three ways. It moves three ways. It moves three ways: conduction, convection, and radiation.